Echo is really a result of me healing my wife 20 years ago. So Echo Water, Echo Technologies, the brand is 16 years old. So we were the first in hydrogen technology. The reason why hydrogen is so incredible for health improvement is because it reduces oxidative stress and chronic inflammation, and therefore diseases and other issues don't occur as readily. Your body is designed to produce hydrogen gas, right? We create flatulence when we ferment food in the intestinal tract. So the way we digest food is through fermentation. The problem is with overuse of antibiotics or heavy metals or glyphosate or pesticides or whatever it is, you can change the terrain so that it's more suitable for aerobic bacteria. And that becomes a problem because if we have too much aerobic bacteria, then the food cravings are going to be carbs and sugar. If you tell people to go climb a 12,000 foot mountain on Wednesday afternoon and eat a berry while standing upside down, and it's going to help them, they will probably do that. They'll probably go climb that 12,000 foot mountain on a Wednesday afternoon and eat a berry while standing upside down or handstanding. But you tell them, hey, you just drink this water with hydrogen gas and it's going to help you. And they're like, oh, that can't be. Right? No, that's too easy. Once Joe Rogan talked about our water, once some of these other very large influencers started talking about it, all of a sudden people are like, oh, wow, wait a minute, there might be something to this. If you really believe strongly in what you're doing and have proof that it's actually going to help people, stick with it. Find other people that are passionate like you to help you with what you're doing, because people that have passion can touch other people's lives. If you have passion, the people you talk to will feel that passion. And they may say, well, he might be crazy, but he sure feels confident about his craziness. So I'm going to listen and try. If you can improve your quality of sleep, it is going to have such a profound impact on your life. You don't even understand. 99% of the bottles that are being sold on Alibaba and Amazon are scam products. They're not really hydrogen. They're cheap, inexpensive bottles from China that are never going to make a therapeutic amount of hydrogen. If the product doesn't have IHSA certification, it's not a hydrogen product and you're getting scammed, period. There are studies that have been done showing that it improves the outcome with cancer when you're using chemotherapy and echo water. In fact, these studies show 100% cancer cell death. If people understood that they would have 50% less chance for cancer if they just drank 8 glasses of water a day, even if they just drink 8 glasses of water per day, which would be like 64 ounces, the prevalence of breast cancer would be 50%, or any type of cancer would be 50% less. We are mostly water. So when you change the water, you can definitely change the person.
Healing truly comes from the simplest elements. The views, opinions, and content expressed on this video are solely those of Rosabel Soulfield and do not reflect the views or nor are they affiliated with any hospital, healthcare facility, medical practice, or organization. All information shared here is for educational and informational purposes only, and it should not be taken as medical advice. Viewers should always consult with a qualified healthcare professional regarding any medical concerns or decisions. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Rosabel Unscripted podcast. Here we dive deep into conversations that bridge science, purpose, and personal transformation. I'm your host, Rosabel Soulfield, and I am honored today to sit down with someone who's redefining how we think about water, light, and health from the inside out. My guest is Dr. Paul Barattiero. He's a true pioneer in the field of molecular hydrogen therapy, and also the founder of Echo Water and Luma Nova. For over 2 decades, he has dedicated his career to understanding how hydrogen and light, two of nature's most powerful elements, can support our body's innate ability to heal. Dr. Paul Barattiero, welcome to our show.
Thank you so much. It's such a pleasure.
I've been looking forward to this conversation for a while now because I want to learn about all of this great technology. I will tell you though, I cannot wait. You won't believe it, but just today, my Echo flask it's being delivered.
Oh, wow.
I was hoping that was here before so I could tell you, but I'm so looking forward to try it too.
Oh, I'm excited for that.
Yeah. So tell me all about, I want to know, why do we begin at the beginning? Tell me about the history of your company. Why did you decide to create it? I want to hear all about that.
Oh, yeah. So Echo is really a result of me healing my wife 20 years ago. So Echo Water, Echo Technologies, the brand is 16 years old. So we were the first in hydrogen technology, hydrogen water. It's the OG, as people say, for hydrogen water, and what all the celebrities use, what all the who's who uses, and because we were the first and we're the best, right? But the way I came across it was almost by accident. Years ago, almost 20 years ago, I was trying to look for any way that I could help my sweetheart, my queen. And we were married 10 years at the time. She was very sick. She had thyroid issues, gynecological issues, anemia, just you name it, all kinds of issues going on. And I was wanting to help her because she would basically be bedbound for a week every month on her menstrual cycle and just very anemic. She would faint because she was so anemic. So it was really a problem. And so I was looking for every possible thing that could help her. I had some really good friends that ended up stumbling across alkaline water way back then, 20 years ago. It was very popular to get these machines that would make the water alkaline. Now, as a clinician, I was like, there's no way possible that that is helping the body because the pH of the water is not going to get through the stomach acid. But okay, you know, and so we were going on a cruise with these friends and they brought water with them on the cruise. And I thought, that's the strangest thing anyone could bring on a cruise. But thank you for bringing water, right? Whatever. So my wife, the first day of the cruise was my wife's first day of her menstrual cycle. And so I figured she's going to be mostly in the cabin on this 9-day cruise. Maybe she'll be able to participate the last 2 days. And so they brought this water. She went straight to bed on the cruise. And, I was going to an art auction coming back. I was just trying to find stuff to do. So I wasn't just sitting there. She got thirsty and said, "Can I have some of that water?" And I said, "Sure." I gave her some of the water. And she said, "Can I have more water? Can I have more water?" And I said, "Baby, you're drinking a lot of water." And she goes, "Yeah, I can't stop drinking this. My body's craving this water." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, really? Well, drink it. I won't drink it. You drink all that water." And so, long story short, within 2 days, she was up and around on that cruise and she was enjoying the cruise and participating fully. And I was like, what in the world? So I asked what is going on with this water? Why did this help her? And they're like, we don't know. I'm like, what do you mean you don't know? Aren't you selling this water by the gallon to all your customers? Yeah. Hundreds of people a day are buying these gallons of water. And I said, well, how come you don't know what it supposedly does? And they're like, yeah, we honestly don't know. And I said, well, I need to figure it out. And so I started doing research. The water that they gave my wife did not have any hydrogen in it, but it did have what's called a negative ORP. And that was enough to help her gut restart. And as I did research, hydrogen gas is what would cause the ORP to be negative in the water, but the hydrogen gas wasn't staying in the water. And so what I really did is think, well, what if we actually keep the hydrogen in the water and we have the negative ORP? And that's what Echo is. That's what Echo was born from, is figuring out how to keep the water with the hydrogen gas in it and have the negative ORP. And oh my gosh, my wife's health improved so rapidly. And of course, now this is, 16 years later, we have millions of people across the world that are using Echo Water and love it. And so
That's a story in a nutshell.
the time period when I began developing the machines, it was 2009 to 2011. And then we began delivering the first machines in 2011.
Why is it such a game changer in health and longevity?
When we talk about health and longevity, the big issue in our body is oxidative stress and chronic inflammation. That's really where your disease models come. The reason why hydrogen is so incredible for health improvement is because it reduces oxidative stress and chronic inflammation, and therefore diseases and other issues don't occur as readily.
I also want to know, how does hydrogen impact cognitive function and clarity and even the mood?
So hydrogen will selectively stimulate gastric ghrelin. I don't know if you're familiar with ghrelin, but you have leptin and you have ghrelin. There's two master hormones in the body. But ghrelin will go to the hippocampus, the hypothalamus, and the brainstem to change cognitive function rapidly. Everything from tremors to just focus and eye-hand coordination to then you get into mood because dopamine receptors and different things that are all functioning in the body have to do with those pleasure centers of the brain, which in the brainstem, hippocampus, hypothalamus, all these things. That's where all this is happening. So when you have gastric ghrelin, when you have ghrelin secretions going to the brain, that's going to affect Parkinson's. It's going to affect all kinds of different motor skills. It's going to affect energy. It's going to affect emotions. It's going to affect a lot of things. So normally in the body, and we should probably tell people this, your body is designed to produce hydrogen gas, right? We create flatulence when we ferment food in the intestinal tract. So the way we digest food is through fermentation. The process of fermentation creates gas. And we have methane, we have other gases, but the one that we're particularly interested in is hydrogen gas. That's normally how your body would get hydrogen. But because of gut dysfunction, which affects 90% of the population, we're not producing hydrogen the way that we're supposed to. And so supplementing hydrogen in our body is really good for the gut. It's really good for the brain. It's really good for the vascular system. It's good for cardiovascular. It's good for the mitochondrial function of the body. All of these things are.
Wow. That is so interesting. There's a lot of studies out there, and a couple of those talk how our gut is our second brain, and also the microbiome, exactly, the
Biome.
good bacteria.
Let's talk about gut for a minute, though.
Mhm.
When the terrain, that predominantly is an electrical terrain. And what people need to understand is there's two main types of bacteria. There's aerobic and anaerobic. And really 96 to 99% of the bacteria in the gut should be anaerobic, and only 1 to 4% should be aerobic. The problem is with overuse of antibiotics or heavy metals or glyphosate or pesticides or whatever it is, you can change the terrain so that it's more suitable for aerobic bacteria. And that becomes a problem because if we have too much aerobic bacteria, then the food cravings are going to be carbs and sugar. And we're also going to have anxiety and depression naturally because of having those bacteria. So when we drink water with hydrogen gas, like Echo Water, when we drink that, we change the terrain because, as I said earlier, what helped my wife is the ORP. Well, when you look at the water coming out of the flask or any of our products, for example, you have a negative 400 to a negative 600 millivolts of electrical potential. That's exactly the perfect terrain for the anaerobic microflora, at least a negative 300 to a negative 400 millivolts. So when you're drinking that water and it goes through the stomach, through the duodenum or duodenum, into the small intestine, and then into the colon, you end up bathing the tissue in this water, and it can pass that electrical potential on into the tissue of the gastrointestinal tract. So that's actually how you're changing the terrain in the biome rapidly with drinking Echo Water because of the hydrogen gas in it.
Right, because it's all occurring at the cellular level. So, is there any other benefits?
There's a million benefits. When you offload oxidative stress and inflammation, that's going to have arthritis. That's going to have so many different things. But even your skin, collagen, hydrogen can stimulate collagen and it can change your plasticity of your skin, the strength of your skin, how supple and soft your skin is. It can change hair because peroxidase is how you end up with gray hair. Hydrogen can help with that. We've had some people that say, my hair on my arms turned back to my regular color. So there's a lot of things that happen in the body when we talk about food allergies like gluten and dairy intolerance. Really quickly, within a couple weeks of drinking the water, people that are typically gluten intolerant can be eating gluten and dairy without having inflammatory response in the body. Athletes have huge benefits because they don't get to fatigue as fast as you normally would because the mitochondrial function is not inhibited and you don't have what's called lactate buildup in the muscle. So there's all kinds of studies on athletes, elite athletes. There's all kinds of, individuals. Everyone doesn't have to be an elite athlete. You can even be an older individual and not be able to run a mile anymore or walk a mile. And now you would most likely be able to. So it's very exciting for a lot of people.
Yeah, I bet. And what would you say was one of the biggest challenges that you had when it comes to, bringing the hydrogen systems into the market?
It was just getting people to understand because it seems like a really simple solution. And sometimes if you tell people to go climb a 12,000-foot mountain on Wednesday afternoon and eat a berry while standing upside down, and it's going to help them, they will probably do that. They'll probably go climb that 12,000-foot mountain on a Wednesday afternoon and eat a berry while standing upside down or handstanding. But you tell them, hey, you just drink this water with hydrogen gas and it's going to help you. And they're like, oh, that can't be. Right? No, that's too easy. And that's probably the biggest. Once Joe Rogan talked about our water, once some of these other very large influencers started talking about it, all of a sudden people are like, oh, wow, wait a minute, there might be something to this. And so it greatly increased our revenues.
Absolutely. And then I can only imagine the sense of pride and purpose that you have, because I'm sure you're helping a lot of people out there. And that's, I think maybe at the end of it is you just wanted to share more beyond that story of what happened to your wife. You were like, oh,
Yeah,
you didn't want to keep it just to yourself.
100%. I thought to myself, there's got to be a lot of other husbands who don't know what to do. And there's got to be a lot of wives who don't know what to do. So let's help everybody. And, in that time in my life, I was focused on diabetes. I had shoe companies that were for people that had diabetes so they wouldn't have ulcers on the plantar surface of their foot. So my focus was diabetes. Imagine when I began giving people the water that had diabetes, and within a few days to a couple weeks, their blood glucose levels were normal. I was like, what the heck? This is amazing. I ended up selling both of my shoe companies, and I just wanted to focus on the water because it's a good thing to give people shoes that fit so they don't lose their toes. But it's a lot better to fix diabetes or to have someone not be diabetic anymore. That's even better. So it's all about good, better, best. And I always try to help people accomplish their divine potential. I think everyone has a divine potential, and I would love to play the smallest little part just to have them accomplish their divine potential. Because if people are stuck in bed, it's really difficult to serve other people. If they can get out of bed, especially when they've been stuck in bed, they will go serve people. They will go help other people. They will have more
Absolutely.
compassion. Yeah.
You are so right, having the energies. I know what it feels like, to like, oh, you gotta get up and you're so tired. And as we get older, especially women, all the hormonal changes that we go through. And so I cannot wait to have the flask of me and try it out for sure. But talking about the whole entrepreneurship of your company and whatnot, what is it something that you would like to a message you would like to give to those entrepreneurs out there who are like trying, perhaps think about when you were just at the beginning and then, they're facing the doubts, the financial hurdles. Is there anything that a message you can give them?
If you really believe strongly in what you're doing and have proof that it's actually going to help people, stick with it. Find other people that are passionate like you to help you with what you're doing because people that have passion can touch other people's lives. If you have passion, the people you talk to will feel that passion. And they may say, well, he might be crazy, but he sure feels confident about his craziness. So I'm going to listen and try. But in the early days, there's thousands of people. And then there was hundreds of thousands. And now there's millions of people that are like, oh, this is the water I drink. I never get tired of having people tell us on Facebook, Instagram, personally, whatever, that they have experienced benefits. And it can be something as simple as their sleep patterns. I did a webinar yesterday on sleep and brain, and people were messaging in there. I have been using this water only for a couple of days, and it's already changed my sleep. I'm sleeping better than I've slept in years. And that alone can change a life. Honestly, If you can
Absolutely.
improve your quality of sleep, it is going to have such a profound impact on your life. You don't even understand. Like, I mean, from disease models to energy to brain function to emotions to stress capacity, how much stress you can handle. People that are getting more than 6 hours of sleep versus people that are less than six is a big difference. And then when you get 8 hours of sleep every night, that's good quality sleep. It's amazing. I was sharing 8 different studies last night, some of which were on sleep, people that were sleep deprived. And it showed that hydrogen, water, got them to sleep faster than those that were the placebo group, as well as the quality of their sleep was better than those that had not consumed hydrogen water. So it's really important that we understand that this is not just science. It is the way your body's supposed to function. Clearly, we are carbon hydrogen chains. If you really look at the body, we are carbon hydrogen chains, and we are like 63%. When you take all the hydrogen, now a lot of it's bound to water, proteins, carbohydrates, all kinds of things. But the point is 63% of our body is hydrogen. That's how important it is. And we need to understand something as simple as stomach acid. Your body can't even make stomach acid without hydrogen gas. So people are going to have digestive disorders if they don't have a source of hydrogen in their body on a daily basis.
Right. So isn't our body the amount of water in our body is what, 70% or something like that?
Could be
Right?
60 to 70%. That's what it should
Right.
be.
One of the biggest element, water,
Hmm.
it makes sense to me. I
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
it don't make sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I am also fascinated by this new adventure. I don't know how new it is, but I just know it's the Luma Nova, the light therapy, right? That
Yes.
is
Yes.
something that has been gaining attention, wellness spa, but seems like you're taking it to another level. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yes. Thank you. So I developed the first red light bed in 2020. We've continued to perfect it, but we just released our newest red light bed just a week ago. The first customer took delivery of that. And what I did is I did a ton of research to figure out what are the best wavelengths that are proven, that are most beneficial to the body. And we ended up having 6 different wavelengths that really are beneficial. I developed 63 protocols, preset protocols with the bed. So you can choose a protocol for wrinkled eyes or droopy eyes, muscle recovery or performance improvement or multiple sclerosis, whatever you have, you can choose these things and it will set all the wavelengths and the pulsing. In some cases, you want light to pulse because it'll go deeper into the body. In other times, you have constant light because you just want it on the surface of the body for wrinkles and aesthetics. So I like red light. So when you look at hydrogen, we're mimicking the human body because the body would make hydrogen on its own. When we look at light, what are we doing? We're mimicking the sun, the positive aspects of the sun. Now, people don't go out in the sun as much as they should. And I'm not saying you need to go out there 5 hours and get all burnt up. I'm saying you need to be outside sometimes. People aren't going to be sunbathing. I can promise you that. Unless they have no nerves in their body, they're not going to go lay outside in 40-degree weather. So when it's cold, like it's starting our cold season, you're going to have long sleeves. You're not going to have as much of your skin exposed to the sun. And I live, like a lot of people do, north of the 37th parallel. And when you live north of the 37th parallel, you have less UV light in the sun and you can't get vitamin D from the sun, for example. So San Francisco and Richmond, Virginia, everyone north of that, that's the 37th parallel, they're not going to get vitamin D from the sun for a good chunk of the year. So really, Luminova is a company that focuses on light to improve wellness. So we have red light, we have infrared light, and we have UVB lights to cause the body to create vitamin D. some of the products on the market can help people. For example, my wife was getting IV and supplement treatment for 18 months, and it did not increase her vitamin D levels. As soon as we boosted her vitamin D levels, long COVID went away, because a lot of COVID issues and long COVID issues have to do with the levels of vitamin D3 in the body.
Absolutely.
So we have a patented device, for example, with Luminova, that 2 to 4 minutes a day exposure, within 90 days, you will at minimum double your vitamin D levels. So this is huge. It's called the Luma D-Light, for vitamin D-Light, Luma D-Light. And so we have that. We also have red light beds that you can get inside, and you can have help with joint issues, hair growth. You can have skin benefits, eye improvement, cataracts, right? You can have all kinds of things, and you can end up having less pain in your body, back pain, people that have back pain and other pain. So we do have a very high-end bed. We have a lower level bed, and then we have a half bed. And then we have these Luma bags that are kind of like a sleeping bag that you can roll up and put away if you don't have room for a full bed in your house, and you can get inside of it, and it has thousands of LEDs that are also blessing your body with red and infrared light. So we're really trying to help people with their health and wellness with light.
Wow. And so, how can people learn more about your products? All they have to do is go to the website, right?
Yeah, it's echowater.com, lumanova.com. And then if people want to learn about the studies, the hydrogen studies, you go to hydrogenstudies.com, and there's thousands of studies there that you can reference. If you want to learn about red light studies, you can go to redlightstudies.com. You can learn about red light studies. There's over 4,500 studies on red light and infrared light helping people. There's 1,500 studies on hydrogen. So both of the things that I'm involved with and the products that I've developed and created, of course, we have patents on the Echo products. We have patents on the Luminova products, but we do have studies backing up what we're doing.
Well, that is very, very important. And if you were to narrow it down to like 3 daily habits that will help people boost their health or cellular level, what would it be?
It would be, first of all, drinking hydrogen water. That's going to take care of a lot of stuff. I can promise you that.
Yes.
Just getting hydrogen water into your body is going to help with digestion, energy levels, clarity, all kinds of things. And if you can get light into your life, if you're living in Florida, go outside for 10 or 15 minutes a day and let the light be on your skin. That's great. But if you live in an area of the country where you can't do that, get something you can do in the comforts of your home. I highly recommend light. Light is very powerful for the body. Now, I will tell you, when it comes to hydrogen water, 99% of the bottles that are being sold on Alibaba and Amazon are scam products. They're not really hydrogen. They're cheap, inexpensive bottles from China that are never going to make a therapeutic amount of hydrogen. And so please don't be scammed by these companies. We don't make this in China. This is made in the Philippines in our facility, in our factory, and it is patented. It is perfected. It has an app, so it'll track how much water you're drinking, how much hydrogen you're getting. There are thousands of products that you can find with red lights, and I would say a lot of them are Christmas tree lights. They're not really therapeutic from an irradiance perspective. You need to have the proper brightness or irradiance of light with red light and infrared that's going to actually penetrate your skin and actually going to help your body. So be careful and buy products that are quality so that it can actually improve your health. Because when you buy the products that are just, you know, inexpensive, you're thinking in your mind, if you're not getting a benefit, it really was a complete waste of money.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for bringing that up. That is something that we need to make our listeners and people all the time conscious. There's a lot of things out there. What is sad about it is that if you're not careful enough, then it kind of like it just takes away what you talked about in the beginning, the faith,
Right.
the belief. They try one of those and they say
Yep.
this doesn't work, right?
That's right.
So I'm thankful that you are mentioning that. And sometimes it's whatever we pay for it. Some of these products may not even be inexpensive. People
Yeah,
spend a lot of money.
that is a good point, Rosabel, because I had someone come to a trade show booth that I was at, and they brought a bottle with them that they had paid $300 for. And I said to them, let me show you what happens if I put this chlorine reagent in it. And I said, pour some of the water out into this little glass. And I dropped some of this reagent. This is designed to test for chlorine. And I put it in there and it turned yellow immediately. And he goes, what does that mean? And I said, chlorine. So what your bottle is doing is making chlorine water. I said, now pour another bit in this other glass and I'm going to test it for hydrogen. And there was no hydrogen in there. So then I took water from our flask and I put it in there and tested for chlorine, no chlorine. And I tested for hydrogen and there's hydrogen. He bought one on the spot. And you're right. He had paid $300 from some company that was selling him this thing saying it was hydrogen, and it was not hydrogen.
Yeah, the scammers are getting super smart because what they do is they say, oh, we need to. People are thinking now that if it's cheap, it's not good, but if it's
Right.
expensive, it must be
Right.
good, right?
Right.
And so
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
incredible what these people do.
So here people can see all those
Right.
bubbles. Can you see those bubbles coming up?
Yeah.
Kind
I
of.
see it. I see the
Yeah.
bubbles. Yeah.
Tons of bubbles. Those are all hydrogen. If you look on the bottom, that blue light right there,
Yeah.
that's where oxygen, chlorine, and ozone come out. And only H2 gas is going into this bottle. So you're guaranteed that only hydrogen is going in. No heavy metals, nothing else is allowed to go through this bottle. That's why you want to focus on Echo, because a lot of people, like they'll buy a sauna, for example, and it'll have high EMFs, but yet they bought the sauna to detoxify their body, but they're getting in a sauna that's cheap. So it's going to have high EMFs. This is the kind of thing I want people to do. You don't always have to spend the highest amount of money, but you need to do some research to find out who has the best products. And when it comes to hydrogen, if the product doesn't have IHSA certification, it's not a hydrogen product and you're getting scammed, period. So we were the first company in the world to have IHSA certification. We continue to have IHSA certification on all of our products. And so it's really important that people do the research, because after all, you're spending this money on your health. The other thing I would say, all Echo products are HSA and FSA approved. So you can purchase them right on our website with your HSA funds and your FSA funds. It's really important to be able to do that because it's a great use of your money. It's your HSA funds. Use it to improve your health.
Absolutely. And in this day and age, we cannot afford not to research,
Right.
with everything that's going out there. So that's
Right.
what I tell my listeners all the time. Is there anything I have not asked you that you're like, okay, I really need to get that out there?
Pretend you just asked me, is it safe for all ages and everyone? Yes, it is completely safe for old, for young, for babies, for dogs, for cats. Let me tell you, even your dogs and cats, they have 50% of dogs and cats have cancer and diabetes. I don't know if people know that, but 50%. So if you give them Echo water, it is greatly it's going to improve their health, their kidneys, their eyes will clear up, their skin, their hair will be better and shiny. So if you're not going to do it for yourself, do it for your dog, right? The reality is the dog will know. You put down one bowl of water, put down our water, the dog is going to go to Echo water. It's never going to go to that other water again. Trust me. Cats are the same. Cats normally like running water, but they'll drink our water from a bowl. That's how much they know our water is good. So it is safe for everyone. Of all the 1,500 studies, you have no contraindications. You have no disease model that's harmful. If someone's receiving chemotherapy for cancer, for example, and I'm not advocating chemo or whatever, I'm just saying if they are receiving chemotherapy, you can drink Echo water with that. There are studies that have been done showing that it improves the outcome with cancer when you're using chemotherapy and Echo water. In fact, these studies show 100% cancer cell death.
Where did the name Echo come from?
Originally, it stood for electrically charged water. So Echo was electrically charged H2O, and the original logo was ECHO, and there was a water droplet with a 2 in it beneath the H and the O. That was years and years ago now, 16 years, but That's originally what it was, electrically charged water. And people were like, well, is it going to electrocute me? And after about the 100th time asking and me joking, saying, yes, of course, it's going to electrocute you. That's what we do. We just took off the electrically charged water and we put hydrogen enriched underneath it. And so it was better at that point. But that was the
Oh, wow.
original reason for the logo. Yeah.
That's very interesting because people think of echo. And so
Yeah.
I'm thinking like it's the water talk back or something.
Well, what I used to say, because I'm cheesy, I used to say, it's called echo because you keep hearing about it.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with it. If it's something really good that is going to help you, you want to keep hearing about it, you want to tell everybody about it.
Yeah,
That's what I formed this podcast because I want people to hear all about
for
great things
sure.
out there.
For sure.
And there's one other question that I had. Oh, how often should we change it or get a new one?
Oh, there's a 5-year warranty on
Okay.
this. So it's going to last at least 5 years. And then you would just get another one. You can see on here the touch screen. That's how you
Okay.
know the timer, how many minutes are left, right? It's a
Okay.
10-minute cycle. And you can see. We also have an app that you connect to it that will record. And I'll show you what the app looks like because it's really cool. So here's the way that app looks. Okay. And you can go and you can see how much hydrogen you're drinking, how much water. You can go and set up fitness goals. It'll tell you how much water you're drinking. And if it's not from a flask, you add it into the app. Like, oh, I drank 20 ounces of water. And so it'll add it to your total, but it will track how much hydrogen you're getting. You see how the bottom has blue lights
Mhm.
right here?
Yes.
You can change that in the app to 14 different colors. So you can change pink, you can change it to purple,
That is
whatever,
nice.
yellow, green, whatever you want. There's a lot of things, but we also have improved the function. So even if you bought this a year ago, we're updating the firmware. And originally when we launched the flask, it was, you got 4 uses with one full battery. They're 10 minutes, so 40 minutes of use. Now it's 60 to 70 minutes of use. So we are improving the firmware and the function of the bottle. And so as people have it and the firmware improves and increases, battery intelligence and other things improve in it as well. So it's really been an amazing product. People are happy with it. And we're very thankful that people love it.
Yes, I can only think like how important, especially like to be able to know how much water you're drinking, because sometimes we just go about our life, our day, and anybody asks you, "Have you drunk enough water?" Oh, sure, I have. And then when you really do the math, or it's like, "You have it,"
Yeah,
and
exactly.
we need to stay hydrated,
Oh, I ask
So
people all the time, how much water do you drink? Oh, I drink a lot. And how much? Oh, like a glass. And I'm like, what size glass? Because it could be 8 ounces, it could be 12 ounces, it could be 20 ounces, but either way, that's too little.
exactly,
If people
exactly.
understood that they would have 50% less chance for cancer if they just drank 8 glasses of water a day, even if they just drink 8 glasses of water per day, which would be like 64 ounces, the prevalence of breast cancer would be 50%, or any type of cancer would be 50% less. I mean, that's just what people need to understand. And they also should understand that they should be drinking half their body weight in ounces. So if you weigh 100 pounds, 50 ounces, 200 pounds, you should be drinking 100 ounces a day. And yes, you can take into consideration other things if you drink tea and it's mostly water, whatever. But I will tell you, most people are chronically dehydrated. That's the
Yes,
problem. So they have low energy levels. And so when you drink the hydrogen water, you're going to feel a boost of energy. And there was a study that I went over last night on coffee versus, and
oh,
hydrogen water increased energy 10% more than coffee, but there was no drop off in 20 minutes. And so that's another thing that people find is when they drink the Echo water, they don't have to drink coffee if they don't want to.
that's
And some people
important.
like drinking coffee because it's an experience that they're having and kind of a reward system for themselves. A lot of people drink coffee because they can't get awake in the morning. This will help you do that. Echo water will help you do that.
Wow.
Now, we do have whole house filtration. We have under sink systems. We don't just have a flask.
Right.
We have machines that produce the water a quarter gallon a minute. So it's whatever people want. They can start here if they're skeptical, and then they can use it for travel. But once they fall in love with the water, which that's what we do, we create water snobs. So people really kind of like the way our water feels and tastes, and then they want more of it. And so they get another device, usually within 90 days, because they want more. They want to make it easier so they don't have to wait 10 minutes for 12 ounces.
Yeah, and have you heard anybody with what is the experience of people that tend to form kidney stones?
Yeah. So you have kidney stones that come there. And a lot of times that's from dehydration. And some people are more prone to kidney stones than others. Drinking hydrogen water could help because you could reduce the inflammation in the kidneys and the pancreatic system so it can get those things out so you don't have them sitting. But the biggest thing to help with kidney stones is to be hydrated.
Right.
And with
Absolutely.
the Echo water would be the best water you could hydrate with. And so, yes, it would help people.
Wow. Honestly, I cannot wait. I cannot wait to try it. And something came to mind many, many, many years ago. I'm probably gonna go to almost 3 decades. Not that I'm that old, but older. But I read a book. It was like a naturopath book.
Yeah.
I was in Colombia, and something about the advice was that before you drank water, any kind of water, you would just do this. Somehow shake it.
Oh.
Or because apparently you were oxygenating the water.
Oh my gosh.
It is interesting, but I wonder what was the principle behind it. It's like,
Well, for oxygen, I don't know because we're not fish. We can't get oxygen from water. But I've seen some people who have a cylinder spin it and the water will spin. You can increase energy if you do 13 revolutions, counterclockwise. But I don't know about shaking it for oxygen.
Right.
I mean, that's
Something about the bubbles. Right. And then the other one is something I saw. Have you ever heard of this? And I can't even remember. Silver. Colloidal silver water.
Oh, yeah. I use it all the time. I think colloidal silver is great. I use a specific brand myself that I like, but colloidal silver has been around for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it's all about the particle size. If you really study silver, colloidal silver, the smaller the particles, the more effective it will be. You don't want colloidal silver that has large particles because it's not as effective. But yeah, I like colloidal silver, and especially when it's in water. Yeah.
Is it electrolysis?
Yes, that's how they would make the silver is
Okay.
the electrodes would be made out of silver and then they end up going away little by little. Yeah. Oh yeah,
That's
people
all I
do it at
remember.
home and that's a little bit scary and dangerous because you can't control the particle size. Yeah. There's a company, Natural Immunogenics out of Florida,
Okay.
that makes Sovereign Silver. And that's the brand that I like and typically use. Yeah. They have
Well,
a doctor's brand and then they have a consumer brand. The Sovereign Silver is the consumer brand, and then they have another brand for doctors only.
Wow. Little did you know that after this, or what you went through with the water, and then look at you today. That is so awesome. I want to say thank you for sticking
Thank
to your
you.
plan and for believing in, because that's what we had to do a lot more of us to believe in ourselves. That's what I always tell people. Be your number one fan. The rest will take care of itself.
That's true. I am grateful for the opportunity I always have to educate people, and hopefully they will take it and do something with the information because it really can change lives. If 90% of the population have gut dysfunction, then every one of them can be benefited by drinking Echo water. This is a good thing to do. Christmas is coming. Black Friday is coming. All these times are coming. It's a great opportunity to get one of these Echo flasks as a gift for someone you like and love for the holidays that has a medical condition. You can affect them
Absolutely.
literally.
Remember how we tend to say we can only lead a horse to water?
Can't make it drink.
Instead of saying make it drink, we can make them drink Echo water.
That's right. There are animal studies. There was a dairy. They did
Yes.
27 dairies. 50% less calves died, and they were using 80% less antibiotics for cattle, for dairy. The fecal smell changed, the health of the cows changed, the morbidity rate of the calves changed. The veterinarians were like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. But
That's awesome.
we are mostly water. So when you change the water, you can definitely change the person.
Well, I'm going to try it out for sure. I cannot wait. I told myself I'm going to make a video as soon as I receive the package and everything. Thank you so much for such an enlightening conversation. I feel like you have shown us that healing truly comes from the simplest elements. We're talking about hydrogen, light, and then we actually understand how to harness the power with purpose. I think we have what we need in hand. So thank you
Absolutely.
again. And for those who are listening out there,
Thank
please
you.
visit echowater.com. And be safe, everybody. And don't forget to stay unscripted. If this episode spoke to you, if it sparked a thought, a feeling, or a shift, I invite you to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss an episode. Visit www.rosabelzofel.com. Here on Rosabel Unscripted, we dive deep into real stories, mindful moments, and conversations that matter. Every week, we explore themes like resilience, healing, transformation, and the courage to rewrite your own story. So if you're ready to grow, reflect, and walk this journey with an open heart, hit that subscribe button, give the video a like, and drop a comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let's keep the conversation going. There are new episodes every week.